Good morning. Happy Monday to everyone. Hope you had a refreshing weekend. Got a lot of bad news out there and just need to recharge your batteries and make the best for yourself. And this is Mornings with Michael for informational and educational purposes only. Let's get to it, and looks like we're going to have a slight bounce. So let me share the heat map. Here's the heat map. Microsoft is up 1.7%. Apple is up slightly. They're about ready to report earnings. Adobe's up 3.2%. NVIDIA is up around 1%. Amazon's up 3.32%. Tesla continues to shed shares in big numbers, and basically mostly up day today after a disastrous week last week. So that's our screen there. And I want to show, here we got our annuity. If you're worried about the market, you want to sleep better at night, an annuity may be your way to go. It beats index investing by about 5%, goes up a step, does not come down. You don't lose money when the market is losing money for many, many people. So that's how that shapes up. And now let's go to the news. World news: the German economy contracted a little less than expected in the third quarter 2023, driven by lower household consumption and revisions to previous quarters of the economy avoided a recession previously reported that winter. Germany's gross domestic product shrank 0.1% from July to September compared to the previous quarter. Eurozone economic sentiment worsened again in October, marking 6 months of continual decline. An aggregate measure of business and consumer confidence fell to 93.3 in October from upwardly revised 93.4 in the month earlier. And let's go share our charts. This is Remit Global, actually. Remitly Global, as people are working in the US and sending money back to their home country. And this company is just, their stock is just trending higher. But let's take a look at GM. United Auto Workers Union has widened its strike against GM and its Spring Hill, Tennessee plant, the lone holdout among 3 Detroit automakers after reaching tentative agreement with Jeep maker. So we can see GM is in cascading down. And Stellantis came to an agreement, and it's mainly in the downturn. 4,000 workers joined about 18,000 already striking at GM factories in Texas, Michigan, Missouri, and Tennessee. China's BYD posted, oh, that's wrong, BYD. Posted quarter 3 earnings as highest ever for any quarter. Quarter 3 net profit reached 10.41 yuan, 82.2% increase year over year on 38.5% rise in revenue to 162.2 billion yuan. And Krispy Kreme downgraded to hold from buy at Truist. Initially sold off, and it came back to its 50-day moving average, which is healthy, probably healthier than their donuts. CVX, Chevron upgraded to buy from neutral. Target raised to 200 at Bank of America as their stock, I guess it's up slightly today. We'd have to go to the 60-minute bar. It had cascaded down and now it's trying to come back up. Mueller Water Products said it recently identified a cybersecurity incident that's causing business operation delays and may adversely impact its financial results. And it is down pretty heavily, 2.36% today. XPO, the shipping company, quarter three adjusted EPS 88 cents versus 63% estimate. And their shares are getting a big boost by that. A lot of buying, as we can see down here on the volume, and a big jump in the price. It's at the top of this bar near the blue buy area. So into financials, Realty Income Corporation gapping down, Spirit Realty and Realty have entered into a definitive merger agreement by which Realty Income will acquire Spirit in an all-stock transaction valued at an enterprise value of approximately $9.3 billion. And Spirit goes up on the news and Realty goes down because people feel they're being diluted, and that's that. Lowe's quarter three EPS $1.12 on revenues of $3.93 billion versus $3.46 billion last year. And their shares are up slightly. Coherus Bioscience shares rose 15% pre-market after the FDA late Friday approved its combination therapy for first-line treatment for adults with a certain type of cancer called NPC. And their shares are up 14.58%. And it's pretty hard to tell on this chart. Up 38 cents, but when your stock is down in penny trading area, a move like that doesn't show up much, but it does have a big percentage in your price. Matrix Medical agreed to be acquired by United Therapeutics, and look at it gap up 218% almost. Wow, look at the volume. And UTHR has been in a downtrend. They're hoping, I'm supposed, to help its shareholders gain some more value. CHKP, Checkpoint, Technology, Media, and Telecom, quarter three, adjusted EPS $2.07 versus estimate $2.02. Comcast subsidiary Universal's Five Nights at Freddy's opened with a record 78 million, winning the weekend the domestic box office despite debuting simultaneously on streaming service Peacock. This was the third biggest horror opening of all time behind New Line's two It movies and biggest horror opening of the year to date. And their stock is up slightly, 1.29%. And finally, Omnicom Group agreed to acquire Flywheel Digital for about $835 million in cash, as its marketing communications company looks to expand its presence in the e-commerce and retail segments. That's it for there. Let's take a look at where financial money managers are moving their money other than what we've seen so far. Novartis up slightly, 1.67%. Got some pretty good volume coming in today as it continues to kind of bounce along in this kind of up and down pattern. Intercontinental hotels up 2.38%. Deckers up 2.87%. It moves further into the buy area. 592.11. They have the Hoka shoes that many people may see people wearing for comfort. We got Facebook's parent Meta Platforms moving back into the $300 area. We'll just see if this bounce lasts. MicroStrategy is up big again today. It's working on a cup with a handle. We'll pull back here. We'll take a look at crypto in a minute. Seems to be trending lately. Caterpillar up 1%. Not too much excitement there. Amazon up about 3% today. This is a double bottom it's working on. We'll just see if it can stay above 134. 134.58 would be the buy area. And didn't quite get all of my letters in there. And here we go. A tour lifestyle up pretty good today. Not sure what's really moving it. Earnings aren't for another 30 days, but their earnings this year is supposed to be up 485%. Maybe that's what is moving it. Learn. Stride continues to trend positively. Earnings is supposed to be up 46% next year. Online curriculum for over 500,000 kindergarten through 12th grade students in 30 states. And finally, Ferrari, it's just up slightly. And let's see where people are moving out of. Interesting. On semiconductor, their earnings came in at negative 4%, and they are cascading down heavily, about 19%. These are all previous leaders. Air Test Systems, maybe in sympathy with On, is down 21.38%. Align is gapped down another 3% today. It is not aligning with your pocketbook very well. TNP still holding up pretty well. Energy navigation. Here's another semiconductor that had been leading before, and it's down heavily, I believe, in sympathy of On, down about 10%. Trivia Health Group down 6.28%. And finally, STM Microelectronics is down heavily, down about 5.57%. Let's take a look at the semiconductors ETF. It's down 0.86%. Financials are bouncing today. Communications, where Meta and Google are bouncing, is trying to fill the gap. Biotech is up slightly. Building materials, it's got a little bit of a bounce. Metals and mining. You got to look at our crypto. Got a pretty big spike there in Ethereum. And BITO Bitcoin is gapping up. It's about up 2.6% today. And let's take a look at dollar pulling back to its 10-day moving average. Interesting. Gold is pulling back the same day. Dollar is pulling back. Silver is bouncing upwards with the dollar pulling back. Continue following in copper, Canadian Copper Company, Southern Copper actually bouncing upwards. Freeport McMoran doing similar to copper. Our bond yields bouncing a little higher. The 20-year a little stronger even than the 10-year, it looks like. And let's look at the VIX. VIX is pulling back, still above 20. We'll just see how far if it comes back to 1996 price area and before it bounces again. S&P 500. We got a bounce, but I believe this is going to be the ceiling. This will be the resistance. It used to be the support. Once it broke through the support, it's going to be the ceiling on the S&P 500. Here's the RSP getting a little bounce as well. I think their ceiling may be right about here. So support came down and broke through support. The NASDAQ believe it's come up to here and it's pulled back. We'll see if it can break through that or not. Equal weighted is actually down today. Dow Jones gapping up. Here's where our resistance would be. Has broken through support, and now here's where our resistance is. And IWM tried to move higher, it's pulled back. I believe this is where it pulled back right from resistance, which was support before, and that's a story there. So I got a PowerPoint I want to pull it back and share with everybody. So this is the Dow Jones, like I was just showing. Got support over here, broke through support, and this is going to be resistance. And we think it's going to pull back up to there. It's at maybe 333.49. IWM upside target of 166.47. I'm going to go back and just check and I close the screen. We'll get right back to it. It bounced up to 164.83 today before pulling back. So we'll see if it can get up to that 166.47. On the QQQ, it's 351.05, which we're predicting, which is, this is a prediction from AJ Monty. Thanks, AJ Monty, for sharing these screens. Just going to check on my little handy thing where the QQQ got up to today before pulling back. Looks like it got pretty close to the 351. $350.54 it got up to today before it pulled back. And the S&P 500, here's where we're looking at the S&P 500, where it's going to pull back up to, and before it pulls back. So Bank of America is closing 15 branches in 6 states this month. Wells Fargo is leading the pack branch location closures in autumn. So there's a number of banks, regional banks, that are in trouble with the interest rates as high as they have been, and these too big to fail. There's a lot of speculation whether they may be taking over a number of these regional banks as they fail. So with bond yields continue to be high, it's going to continue to put pressure on the regional banks. So we'll just see. Time will only tell. ECB starts preparation for digital euro and multi-year project, but we, in many ways, think this is going to help crypto, because this is centralized banking, and a lot of people like the fact of non-centralized banking with the privacy controls that are initiated there. Americans are falling behind on auto loan payments at a record pace. High prices, steep borrowing costs trigger spike in auto loan delinquencies. And here's a 6-figure homeowners club. Americans need $114,000 in annual income to afford a typical home. How many people are making that much money? That's the big question. NASDAQ breadth versus the NASDAQ. We can see the big 7 have been holding up the NASDAQ line, but this is the breadth as fewer and fewer stocks are being traded. Everybody's moving to the big 7, and once they fail, all things are going to break loose. Here's a magnificent 7 market cap as a percentage of the S&P 500. Was previous high was 29.1%, pulled back to 20%, and now it's getting pretty close to 30% as a percentage of the S&P 500. Finally, a near record drought for small caps. Looks like they've gone virtually nowhere. In the last, I would say, 4 years, they have 4 to 6 years, they have virtually gone nowhere. Hopefully, this means that they're going to take off in the future and help those people investing in them. We have a bond route that is really pulling back, especially the small cap stocks that are trying to borrow money in this area. So that's our kind of down-looking news for the day. Look at our markets. This has been Mornings with Michael for information and educational purposes only. And we hope you all have a great start for the week. keep going after those goals and those activities, and we'll turn this ship around.